Hello everyone, Two Speed here. We're here in the sewing studio slash my kitchen table, and we're going to talk about how to make a mesh bag, much like this mesh bag. Mesh bags are good for putting odds and ends in when you're hiking or backpacking, or when you have some organizational things you want to put for taking camping. You may want to put some spoons, forks, anything like that in the bag, and it's going to look like this. And what we're going to start with is I'm going to give you a link to a material list. The materials you're going to need for this project are going to be number one, about 1 yard of no seam mesh. This is 0.9. When you get the yard of mesh, it's pretty wide, so you're going to have a lot left over depending on what size bag you want, so you can make several bags for it. After you get the mesh, you're going to need to get some of this green cord right here. It's called micro cord. It comes from Dutchware. And also the mini cord lock that you can see here, zoom it in a little bit, and that also comes from Dutchware. And before we get started, just like to thank Dutchware, they actually donated the mesh to make this bag to help make this tutorial for you guys. Okay, when I come back, we're going to go to step one. The split screen right here is going to show you step one, and the first thing you need to do is measure your bag. For me, the bag I'm going to make, I already have over here on the counter. Let me go get it for you. Looks kind of like this. And as you can tell, it has rope on it, and it has a big cord lock. I'm making some that look just like this. I'm going to put it in my camping box for going camping. I'm going to put all my utensils in there so I can just grab it. And if you'll notice with this bag, I hold it up for you guys, it has a seam on the bottom, and then it has a seam right here going up to the end channel on the top. And so step one, as you can hopefully still see in the corner, is measure your mesh and get your distance. So when you cut the mesh, you want to be really careful with cutting the mesh, because you can mark it with a Sharpie, but realize that when you mark it with a Sharpie, the Sharpie goes straight through the mesh. So don't do it on your coffee table, unlike mine that has Sharpie marks all over it. But if you do, alcohol can usually pull it right up if you put it on something pretty important and you need to get the alcohol off really quick. So this is the piece I have, 15 by 9 piece, and that's step one, is cut. And when we come back, I'm going to be at the sewing machine, and I'm going to go to helmet cam. Alright, hi guys, we're in helmet cam mode, and we're going to go to the sewing machine. I have my piece right here, it's 15 by 9, and for step two, which is in the corner right now, we're going to take the ends. I'll show you guys before we put it on the sewing machine. We're going to take each end, it looks like this, and then we're going to take it and we're going to fold the pointy end down, and then we're going to fold it one more time so it kind of takes up that pointy end. And what I normally do on here is I take this long side where my thumb is and I measure it, and I make it about 1.5 inches. Go over to a sewing machine. This is a fancy Singer sewing machine from Walmart. You get it situated, and if you'll notice on top here, I'm using an off-color thread from the black mesh. Normally you use black thread, but I'm using the red thread, so hopefully you guys will be able to see it after I get done sewing. Get a little back stitch and go across it. Just capture that end. And when you get to the other side, just do a little bit more backstitch. And that's it for the end. And step two, let me cut it and I'll show you guys what it looks like. This is what it looks like when it's finished. Just got the end captured in there. And you get one little seam across it, and then you just snip the ends. With your scissors. And then you go to the next corner. You want to make sure that when you're on the next corner, that here's the next corner. Here's the next corner I'm going in. You want to make sure you have it facing the same way every time you sew, so when you roll in, you're rolling them all in the same way. That way you don't have them all rolled in one way and one rolled out. And so when you turn it inside out to do your channel and then right side out, you'll have one facing the wrong way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go do the other 3, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about the next step. Alright, hey guys, we're back and we have our 4 corners triangled up and so on. And so now what we're going to go into the sewing machine so we can get some light. Right here where my finger is the long end, and it's the top edge, we're going to call it. We're going to make our channel, and when I make the channel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold about 1/4 inch right there where my thumb is, and then I'm going to fold over, and we're going to make this in about 3/4 of an inch. And what I'm going to do is, for me, I'm going to go with the option of option 3, and I'm going to put the micro cord in the channel before I sew it. That way at the end I don't have to try to fish a piece of coat hanger or mechanics wire through it and thread it through. So I'm going to get the micro cord, put the cord down, and get some of your pins. The trusty tomato, and fold it over like we did a minute ago, and get your about 3/4 of an inch. Try not to let the string fall through like me. So now we got it about 3/4 of an inch. And as you can tell at the end where we triangled it, that's making a nice little corner right here for where we're going to connect the seam, which is right there. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go ahead and pin this channel, the 3/4 inch channel we just made. And I'll be back in 1 second. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to take the channel with the string in it and the little flap that we folded under, we're going to sew a seam all the way down the channel. And the tricky part about doing it with the cord in it is, I don't know if you can see, just make sure you don't get the cord caught in the sewing machine when you're doing it. But this way is a lot easier than fishing it through after you're done. Alright, got our channel finished, and the cord is through it just like we wanted. Gonna trim our ends real quick. As you guys can tell, when you get to this point, you're pretty much gonna know how much cord you need, so don't want to waste it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the cord. Just gonna need about, I'd say that's about, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches hanging off on each side, and that'll be enough to put your cord lock on. So just go ahead and cut this. Make sure it stays in there. Okay, now what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold it with the channel on the inside, so it's like this. So you want that to be on the outside when we do our seam. So the channel part, so this is where we sewed, so that's where that little lip is. You want that to be on the inside after you're done sewing, so put that on the outside for the seam. So you take this and you fold the ends of the channel together, and your bag's starting to come to shape. So now what you're going to do for step 3, which should be in the corner, is you're going to roll him up the bottom and then all the way into the side, and you're going to go up to about touching. You're going to go up to touching where the triangle part started, and then that's where you're going to do your back stitch. Make sure again that you don't catch the cord in the sewing machine, because it won't be fun to dig out into there. So I'm going to roll him these sides, and then we come back, we're going to talk about how to install the cord lock. Alright guys, we're back. We have our L-shaped rolled hem done. And I realized I said rolled hem. and I didn't tell you guys what I was doing, so the rolled hem. I'll just take this other piece that I have right here and show you. So when you want to do a rolled hem, it's pretty simple. This is your bag. You're going to have it folded twice. And what the rolled hem on the last piece is going to be, you're going to have both pieces. You're going to have both pieces. You're going to fold them once. And then I normally just fold them again to hide that rough edge. And then you put your seam on top of it, and it makes it nice and neat. And it looks like kind of like that. Where my finger is, I'll zoom in for you. So now we're back to our project. And this is the inside of the bag. So it really doesn't matter when you install the cord lock, but this is the end. And as you can tell, usually put a little loose knot in it so it doesn't fall out when you're moving the bag around when you're sewing. So how are you going to install the cord lock? You're going to take your two ends and just run them both through the cord lock. How I'm going to install the cord lock, get this little knot that I put in at the end while I was sewing. Just get it out. That would be a little difficult, so we'll just cut it. So the cord lock, put the line through, put the two lines through, and just tie about 2 overhand knots. You can pull it in a little bit when you're tying your knots if you want. You just tie one knot, one overhand, and then you come back and tie one right. Just make it a little bit bigger. That way the cord lock won't slide off. And after you're done with that, have a little end, seal it up. That way it'll stop the cord lock from coming off. Your bag out, and so now you just want to flip it in right side out. And there you have it. There's your bag. And just poke the little corner back out. Alright. And here you have it. Here's your bag that we made. And that's the end of the simple mesh bag tutorial on how to sew it. Again, thanks for Dutchware for providing the mesh for this tutorial. Thanks, guys.